Leave it a question. This is from the second website. Actually, that's the one before last. To date, and they didn't use the full they used it in that website. To date, EPDs are the best way for producers to predict the relative performance of future projects or set of trades. EPDs can be a powerful tool for the producer, and with a little knowledge of what each EPD means, they are relatively simple to use. You see my comment involved. They're also really easy to issue. They're every bit as easy to issue as they are to use, I promise. And I want to look at things here, probably things in perspective. I've listed 5 major disasters in these categories. And one of them, some of you like me are old enough to remember the this, but selecting small size and blocking confirmations from the 30s to the 50s. And the industry basically wrecked itself at that time by getting the cattle too little, too fat, and took the production out of it. So that selection of real small cattle back from the 30s to 50s, that was a disaster. Right there at the same time, happening at the same time as all on the heels of it, was the occurrence of warfare. Herman had the biggest problem with it, but they had also had the most capital. So the occurrence of high levels of warfare in the 40s and 50s, that was a disaster too. Putting too much exotic blood in the commercial cow herds in the country. Charolais was available starting in the 30s, not very available until in the 60s. Got real popular in the 60s, and the exotics came in, the Simmenthals, the Limousines, and the Pianinas, and the Maines, and then the Gilkins. More about to say. And they came in with all this talk about how great they'd be at terminal sires. Everyone, as you know, when you drive up and down the road, you see lots of exotic blood in the cows in the country. And as far as I'm concerned, putting too much exotic blood in the cow herds and our commercial cow herds in the country has been a disaster for the industry. It was always a disaster, but as corn has gotten as high as it has in recent years, as fertilizer has gotten as high as it has in this last year, it's a real disaster for me. A fourth disaster. Selection for extremely big cattle in the 70s and 80s. And that picture right there, which in this room you can't see very well, but don't be looking for those people's heads very well because you can't see anything. You can see their feet, but only that one right there, right behind his withers, you can really see any of the head. He's pretty tall guy. I think everybody agrees. We got cattle way too big in the 80s, and in that case, most of the size was height. And I would also say that the misuse of EPD, where a higher growth EPD meant performance, I'm saying from the 80s to the present. And the only reason it didn't start earlier because that's when most of the breed associations started writing EPD. Starting in the 50s with the so-called performance movement, performance came to mean bigger cattle. And that whole doctrine of trying to make them bigger, put more growth in them, I'm listening here to disaster right there with those others. Now, selection, either without, but especially with EPDs, is effective. Things can change. We've got every example of it, every species, and every breed. If you want to change them, you can change them. Selection is effective. We've got tools now to make selection even more effective than what it was before we had the genetic predictions that we have today. But selection is effective. My comment there, we paid a whole lot more attention to how to select for a trait than whether we ought to be selected for it. We've selected for things because it was a thing to do in many cases. Change things that didn't need to be changed just because it was a popular thing to do. And again, that's a total misuse of EPD. The heart of this has been primarily that as a cattle breeder, we failed to recognize that there's some intermediate options for almost everything. Now, if you look at your 6 essentials, you probably could say, well, hardiness and fertility and disposition, we take all we can give them. That's fine. We'll take them as best as we can give them. Conformation, yeah, we can go to extremes of conformation. We can mess them up there and do a few things. Milk, we can put too much milk in them. We can make them produce too much milk that they cannot effectively compete in beef cattle. We can make them too big. We're going to talk a bit about making them too big. And that failure to recognize that intermediate option is usually because of failure to take into account the cost of production, the cost and requirements of production. If you don't take into account the inputs, then we don't have any way of knowing whether we're at the optimum output or not. Somebody will say, well, I get paid by the pound, so I want them as big as I can get them. Well, that's fine right now. But you're going to pay the cost later whenever you keep that kid's sisters around the cows and they're too big, you can't get them bred under your frequency. Again, failure to recognize the nutritional requirements and the cost. Like same kind of comment I made a few minutes ago. This is the same kind of thing I've been saying for years before grain cost right now. Same thing I was saying for years before fertilizer cost right now. If they were too big, they were too big then. But it really hits you hard now if they can't make it without extra supplemental feeds with the current cost of the fertilizer. Just said one. Got that slide to say this one over here. Now, EPDs are useful. Cattle are big enough. Using EPDs, selected based on EPDs is very effective to bring about the desired change. What's often happened though, because it has been useful from a marketing standpoint to advertise something as a triple trait leader or trait leader in 4 traits or even more, that those bulls with higher growth EPDs are often favored even when you don't need more size. If all you're doing is advertising it as part of the horse race of having the highest EPDs and you don't need them any bigger, they're still going to do the same thing they would otherwise. They can still increase your size, even though you may have cattle already big enough. And I put a note at the bottom. That's part of this bigger, better attitude that we just can't seem to get over. We got into it, oh gosh, in the 50s anyway, and really haven't got over it with that attitude. Bigger is better. It seems to be, I guess, all the problems that some of our motor companies are having right now selling pickups and SUVs indicates that some people got over it at some point. We still got to get over it in the cattle business too. There are lots of cattle that are too big. Now, selection aspect. I said even without EPDs, we can change size of them. But with EPDs, we can change it pretty well and pretty rapidly. One of those slides in a while ago is the same basis. We can make them almost any size we want to. The real question is, what size should it be? How big should it be? And I can't expect everybody to agree with my assessment of this, but I'm sure going to talk about it. Now, important statement here to begin with. If all nutrition requirements can be met, biological efficiency, that is just a pound of feed in, a pound of beef out, biological efficiency is pretty much independent of body weight. Now that does depend on meeting all the nutrition requirements and selling everything at the same degree of body fatness. But if we take the same degree of body fatness on a percentage basis anyway,